here to make some beautiful fall jewelry together. So we are making this jewelry from UV resin. And if you are brand new to UV resin, if you are brand new to jewelry making, this is a beginner level class. We're going to take you through all the steps, nice and slow. We're going to get you familiar with all of the materials that you need, all the techniques that you need to be able to make any kind of fall jewelry. We've got you covered here. So again, my name is Stephanie Menor. I'm here representing Blue Moon Studio and UV Resin. Let's get started. So let's switch to the other camera and take a look at some of the earrings that we're going to be making. So these earrings, so you can see this bottom piece is made from resin and some little flaky bits in there. The top piece is metal. So the metal piece you can buy at Michael's. In fact, you can buy all of the supplies that we're using today at Michael's. This pair of earrings has some real dry flowers embedded in there. You can see the clear resin. And this looks like a real, let me hit some buttons here. Looks like a real leaf from outside, but if I turn it on the back, you can see it has a white back. This is not a leaf from outside. This is actually started its life as a sticker. So we're going to show you how to turn any sticker into earrings. So let me kind of clear the field here and let's get started talking about what you need to be able to make this craft. If you're crafting along, have a wonderful time. If you're watching this later when it is from the recording on YouTube, hello to you too. So let's start with the most important thing here, which is the UV resin itself. So it comes in a bottle like this. This is the big bottle, the 200 milliliter bottle. Mine has been well used here, but this is the big bottle available at Michael's in the jewelry making department. And this is a clear liquid that pours out and it stays liquid until it hits UV light. And that's what this is a little UV lamp. So if I hit that button once, those lights are going to come on. They are going to stay on for 1 minute. And then we will have to hit that button again to run it for another minute. This plugs in to a USB input, I guess you could say, similar to what you might charge your cell phone in. And then we have a lot of beautiful things to put in our resin. We have some of these like metal flakes. These are just gorgeous. I don't know if they're showing so well on camera. Some little kind of polyester flakes, I would call these. These are metal. And then we have fine glitter. We have a bunch of different earring findings here, and we're going to show you all of the different ways you can turn your creations into earrings, including some things like this that we might need for the top of our earrings. And then the stickers. So this is the sticker that we're going to do today, but these are regular stickers. You can see the back. They've got that little foam sticker on the back, which we're going to remove, but any sticker will work. I'll show you, we've done some Halloween classes recently, and Michael's carries these type of sticker books. Any sticker in this book can be used to turn into charms, earrings, pendants, and jewelry. Okay, then we have several different silicone molds. These are all going to be used to make earrings. You'll notice that they are clear. They say Blue Moon Studio on that side. Oh, that's not in focus. And you can't see that. Okay. But these are used to make earrings. So we're going to use a few of these different shapes today. I also have some dried flowers. Here's what they look like in store. You get a bunch of flowers and some greenery there. You're going to need a few different jewelry tools. Something like these. Pretty basic stuff. And a few other things we might pull out along the way. So those are all the basic supplies. At the bottom of all those supplies is this blue mat. This is a silicone mat. So this protects my work surface. And you'll notice that a few of our things are silicone, the molds are silicone. The mats are silicone. Oh, mixing cups. I didn't bring those out. We're going to mix up some stuff. And that is because resin, when it cures under that light, it doesn't stick to silicone. It peels right off like a dream. So that's why so many of the things that we're working with are silicone. All right, so let's get started with the first project, which is super simple. We are going to use this mold, and I'm going to bring you guys in just a little bit so you can see all the magic. This mold makes some U-shaped earrings and some soft rectangle shaped earrings. And then you've got these two pieces here. Those are for making earring toppers. And I'm going to show you an example. So what I mean by earring topper, this is an earring that we're making in a future class, but the top of the earring is up here. So that's what that makes. Of course, you could make an earring, a tiny little earring just by itself, but then you can add on to it another shape. If you're interested in knowing how to make this particular earring, you can check out michaels.com classes and events page, and you will find that class. But we're going to get started with this shape here, and we are going to be making this earring. So the other thing I want you to notice is all of these shapes have this little silicone little peg at the top, and that creates the hole that you need here to be able to connect a jump ring to it and to connect it into an earring. So that hole is already made for you, and it pops out very easily from there. All right, so let's get started. A question from Laura Lee in the chat. If you have any questions, please do not let them go unasked. Ask those to us in the chat. We'll be happy to answer. She noticed when I flipped this up that this mat has a shiny side and a matte side to it. And the choice on whether leave it on the shiny side or the matte side is completely up to you. Either one will work and release just fine. I keep it on the matte side just because I think it looks a little better on camera. So that is up to you. Okay, so here we have our silicone bowl, and we are going to go in straight from the bottle into our silicone bowl. And I'm kind of eyeballing how much I think we'll need to fill this shape. And of course, because you're making earrings, you will need enough to make both earrings. And we are going to be using these gorgeous flakes. These also from Michaels, but these are sold with the glitters, like in I guess that would be in the paper crafting department. This is what it says on the back here, rainbow flakes. And they are like real metal flakes in that, do you see how they are like, oh, what do you call that? Like static, they like static cling. They're very, very fine flakes. And in fact, so fine, I think I'm going to use tweezers to get those out. See how they're like just floating. And these are pretty large. So I'm actually going to use two different tweezers. I just want to like cut them up a little bit. Just kind of pull them apart. And this is totally optional. You can go in with these larger flakes if that is the look that you like. You could also use scissors on these, but they break apart really easily. Get some of these guys in there. And I love the variance in color. I love all these fall colors, so pretty. See, they are like static clinging to my tweezers here. Okay, and then I'm going to put these just directly into my resin. And how much you want, that also is up to you. It depends on how much clear you want showing around the flakes. I have a little wooden stick here, and I use that to mix things around. And to go with that, I also keep a paper towel here off to the side, and that's so I can wipe my stick off so that I don't set it down on my work surface and get resin everywhere. You can see I've just added some flakes, and we are going to start adding those into the mold. So the silicone bowl is very flexible, so you can create like a spout. All right, and then you just want to move this stuff around until you get it exactly how you want it. And you do want to fill this mold out completely. It's a little hard to see for you guys because you're looking at a clear thing in a clear mold, but I can see, because I'm kind of at an angle here, I can see that it's not full, so I want to add more. Now, anytime you're working with UV resin, you do not want to be working on a sunny day by an open window because this product is cured in UV light. And there's a ton of UV light in just sunlight. You also want to make sure that you are working in a well-ventilated area. If you have sensitive skin, you may want to use gloves. And I don't think I have this quite full. I think I'm going to add just straight from the bottle, a couple drops. And now I like to pick it up and look underneath and just make sure I like the way that it looks. And I like that. And we are ready. Let me wipe this down. We are ready to cure that. So it's just as simple as that. There are a million gorgeous glitters out there in the world. So we're going to turn our lamp on, place that under the lamp, and do a little cleanup. I think using Scotch tape to clean up any errant little bits of glitter is just about the best way. Okay, so let's talk curing times. As I said, that one press of that button, that's going to run for a minute. In this case, I'm probably going to cure it for at least 2 minutes. You know, some of those flakes in there were kind of big. They may be blocking the light, and we need those UV rays to hit everywhere. So you may see me kind of like move it, turn it a little bit just to make sure that the light is hitting all parts of that earring. Now, as I said, there is UV light in sunlight, so this will cure in sunlight. If it's a sunny day, put it on a sunny windowsill and it will be cured in 5-10 minutes. Put it directly outside so you can see that ran for a minute, turned off. Let me turn it on again. And you get a beautiful deep cure from the sun in very little time. It will also, even if it's slightly cloudy, it will also cure on a slightly cloudy day or partially sunny day. It'll just take longer. All right, so while that's going, we are going to use this earring topper for the top of that earring. So you can create your own earring toppers as I showed you. Right here in the mold is a great way to create an earring topper. You can use a bead as an earring topper. I'm just getting this unattached from this packaging. Or you can buy something like we have purchased right here. This beautiful little hammered disc. And now we are also going to need some findings, some earring findings. And I'm going to show you all the different options available. because there are a lot of these different types of ear hooks. You'll have to tell me which one you like the best. I think I have one more kind in here. Here we go. So all of these do the same job. They go through your earring. I mean, through your earlobe. And it's just a matter of design, which one you like. So there's this type, which is very similar to this type, just a little bit of a smaller. And then we have the kind of ear wire style. These are kind of the three most popular ear wire styles. This one's a little more of a flat. This is your classic. And then this is just a curved wire. The French one, you like this one? Yeah, I like that one too. All right, so let's use that one. The other little piece of hardware you're going to need is a jump ring. You're going to need two jump rings, actually. Now, this little hammer disc, it does come with two jump rings on it. By the looks, they're a little small. You can see the size difference right there. So I'm going to upgrade that bottom one to slightly larger. Okay, so this is gone for 2 minutes. Let's see what we have. The first thing you'll notice is that it's a little warm. Okay, that's natural. It does get warm under the lights. And you can see I'm kind of a messy crafter, guys. I spilled a little bit here and there, but you can see how easily it just removes. And I can toss that. All right, after you let that cool, let's pop it out and see what we got. So this is exactly what it is. Out of there, you can see a little spill there. I'll show you how to fix that up. But it pops out just beautifully perfect. It's just perfect. Being down inside that mold, you get a perfect shape every time. So for this little guy here, you know what? He actually is just going to pop right off. If it doesn't pop off easily, if it's jagged in any area, you may want to get a little emery board. If you have any jagged bits, you could just kind of like knock those off. But I'm feeling along here, it feels perfectly smooth and wonderful. So I don't even need that. Okay, here is where you're going to want to bring in some of your jewelry tools, some pliers. These both come from a 3-piece plier set that Michael sells. It's a really great value if you're just getting started. And we need to connect this to this to this. So to do that, we have to find where the hole is. Is it there? Let me take a look. Yes, it is. And I'm going to use this larger jump ring to do that. So this is about a 6mm jump ring. Every jump ring has a break in the top, and I have it situated at the top there. And either with my fingers on one side, pliers on the other side, or with pliers on both sides, I can do it like this. Okay, let me put it over here so you can see. I bring one plier toward me and one away from me to open it like a coil. That is the correct way to open a jump ring. And that makes sure you don't distort the shape, the circular shape of it. You never want to, let me put that down. You never want to pull outwards because you'll never get it back into that perfect circular shape. So that's how you want to open it. So that jump ring goes through your piece. And if it doesn't go through, we might need to just upgrade and go up one size. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, there we go. It goes all the way through. And before we close it, we want to thread this on. And then you want to close the jump ring in the opposite motion that you opened it. And I'm just taking a look here to see how this lays. Yeah, you know what? When you are making earrings, you always want to keep in mind how it's going to lay. And what I mean by that is the way that faces front. So I'm actually going to remove this small jump ring that came with this connector. If I can find where the break is. Sorry, I got it. Sometimes I have to take it off camera so I can look at it really up close. Okay. I'm going to remove this jump ring that came with it because that's causing it to be 90 degrees turn from where I want it to be. So let's go back, find our break in this jump ring, and we're going to connect this metal piece directly to our resin piece. So I can just open that up again, put that on, and close it up. Now this is a very tight fit. We'll see if I can do it. And close that up. The other thing you'll notice is when these things a question from someone in the comments, is it damaging to the hook to turn it the way that you want? I think what she's asking is for those type of perpendicular or turning issues, you can fix it in the hook. I prefer to keep the hook, the loop of the hook going the same way as the hook itself rather than trying to turn it. So I try to take care of those issues down here. So now that I took out that jump ring, you can see that our resin piece is faced this way and our disc is faced this way. If I left that jump ring in, our disc would have been faced this way. All right, so now I just want to connect this to the top. So I'm going to open the jump ring that's already here. And when they get really small jump rings, it's hard to do it with your hands. Let's open that up. Come on. There we go. And we can add that on and close it up. And there we go. That's our first completed earring. Now, of course, if you don't like the size of this, the length of it, you can connect your ear wire directly to this shape. And I'm going to show you an earring where we did that. It's a little bit of a different shape, a smaller. This has a dried flower in it, and it came out of like a gem-shaped mold. And here we just connected that with a jump ring directly to an ear hook. So you don't need an interim piece in there. You can just connect them directly. Okay, one earring done. Let's move on to the next earring, which uses dried flowers. And that one comes from this mold, from these bars in the mold. And just little comments about how to care for your mold. So you may need to give these a little wash in mild soap and water. Especially if you use glitter with them, because glitter, glitter just gets everywhere. And then I always use a little piece of tape to get those hard to get glitter pieces out of the mold, just to make sure that your mold is clean and ready to go when you're ready to use it. Okay, so for this one, we're going to go straight into the mold with resin. And we're going to lay down, I'm going to fill the mold about halfway full. So you can just pour that directly in. Now, if you have any air bubbles, now I can see that there's one right here. You can just pop those and usually they'll go away. There's another little bubble right here. If you can't pop them, you can kind of just scoop them out and wipe them away on your paper towel. All right, let's get our flowers prepped. So I showed you these earlier. This is how the flowers are sold in the store. And let's open this up. They come inside this is a little plastic tray. And I always keep that plastic tray, and that's how I store these. These, they're very, very delicate. They are real dried flowers. But I like to keep this little acetate tray and just stack the trays together. And I'll show you what I mean. These have two trays that are nested in there with a little, this is like a desiccant. So here I have a tray of flowers. I have an old tray of flowers here, and I just like, let me get that little corner away. I just like stack them in on each other. And here I have a tray of greenery. I'll stack that together. And that's how I store my flowers, which is handy if you have a bunch of different kinds of flowers. All right, let's move this greenery. Tweezers help. And those are our flowers. So for this earring, we are going to want to cut one of these flowers down the center. I'm also going to use these flowers here. So you want to be just very, very careful, especially these like daisy style flowers. The little radial pieces that come off the center, they are very, very delicate. So I'm going to hold that, and just go in with scissors and try to make sure that I cut it in half. Okay. That's a great way if you need to make a pair of earrings and you only have one flower. It's a great idea to cut them in half. All right, so we have our wood stick. I'm going to dip it into the resin and use that to pick up the flower. And so in this case, we are creating mirror images. And I want to sink that down into the resin. I don't think I got an exact center cut on this, but it's still going to look really nice. So again, mirror images. I could have put those on the inside edge as well. All right, switching over to some smaller flowers. And of course, Michael's carries a lot of beautiful dried flowers. You can also dry your own flowers, but you do want to make sure that they are dried. You never want to put fresh flowers inside resin because they'll get gross after a while. We don't want that. And you can see that I'm placing the flower and then kind of like tapping it down. I want to get it down to the bottom of the mold. And this helps me to make sure that there's not a giant air bubble trapped underneath. Sometimes when you add flowers or you add any large flat thing to resin, it's very easy to trap an air bubble under there. Can you use artificial flowers? Absolutely. In fact, there are very few things that you can't or shouldn't use in resin. Fresh flowers is just about the whole list. You can put almost anything inside resin and it'll be beautiful. Anything from paper, stickers, shells, sand, um, candy. We've done candy before, fabrics. Gosh, the list just goes on and on. Okay, so those are where I want them to be. I'm gonna pick this up and look underneath, and I don't see any big any air bubbles under there. Now I do want to fill this up because it's not fully filled up. Keep in mind when you work with molds that what we see here, this view that we see, that's actually the back of the earring. The more beautiful view is underneath here. So you want to front face things in that way. All right, this is ready to go. Let's turn that lamp on. And I'm going to let that go for 2 to 3 minutes. Now this is a 9-watt UV lamp. And question from Patty in the chat. Thank you, Patty. This is a great question. Once it's cured on this side, she's asking, should you flip it over and cure the other side? I've seen a lot of people do that. I think that's especially helpful when you are loading your resin up with a bunch of glitter or tint or something that might be kind of blocking the light. In something clear like this, it should just cure from one side, but we'll do that on this one. I'll flip that over and we'll see. Okay, so that is going to cure for a couple minutes. And then we are going to add some earring findings to the top. So that already went for a minute. I'm going to show you an example of a stunning earring that also uses these little yellow flowers, but uses these tiny little, like almost confetti flowers in between there. It's beautiful to layer a few. And this earring topper that it has is actually made of polymer clay. Polymer clay and UV resin work very well together. And I'll show you another piece. So in this case, we used a purple flower with this kind of like a baby's breath behind it, but we tinted this resin, this like lilac color. I'll show you how to tint resin too. But the topper is made of polymer clay. And so we also teach classes on polymer clay. If you are interested in learning polymer clay jewelry, check us out. We have some classes coming up the rest of November and into December. Oh, so that went for 2 minutes. I'm going to flip it over and just put that under there for the last minute. And I think for this one, I'm going to get a little bigger jump ring. I have a whole container of these jump rings, different sizes. It just makes it a little easier to get through your piece if your jump ring is slightly on the large side. All right, so at this point, it's gone for about 2.5 minutes. I can turn it off. And it is quite warm. We do want to make sure that this cools. Anytime you have like a larger flat shape, make sure you cool it in the mold. The reason is when it's warm, the resin is like slightly bendy. And so I don't want to bend these and then have to try to bend it back. I'll use this time to show you some more examples of super simple earrings. So here's one. It does not have a topper to it. It's just glitter in resin, but we did it in kind of like an ombre and then connected that directly to an ear wire. There's another ombre, but here at the bottom is like a periwinkle color, then a little bit of glitter, and then clear at the top. So you can get a lot of effects just with resin and glitter. And then the last thing that I'm going to show you, this is the earring you just saw. And we don't show this that often, but it is such a good idea. The only difference between these earrings is that we took a gold marker and finished the edges. See, this just has the clear edges. Finish the edges. I'll show you the marker that I use. And that just, I don't know, that just kind of gives it a little extra finishing oomph. I like the way that looks. And this is the marker that I love to use for that. Deco Color Premium Gold Marker to go over the edges. This is like one of those that you shake, you know? So that's the look, the difference that you can achieve in the look. All right, so this is cooled. And let's pop these out. There's one. And there's the other. And I'm checking the edges, see if we had any like scratchy bits. We don't want that on our jewelry. No, these are just perfect. I don't need to do anything to those. You guys like the gold edge? Okay, we'll do a gold edge on these, and then we'll compare that. So this particular Deco Color gold marker is just the best. It's juicy, and it's that easy to color the edges, but I'm going to try not to color my fingers. Trying not to get gold paint on my fingers and then get it back on the earring. Okay, I'm going to set this to the side, let that dry, and then I'll show you the difference between the two. For now, though, let us turn this into an earring. So here we have a larger jump ring. This is 8 millimeters. Larger jump rings, it's easier just to hold it with one hand. Open it up, and then slide that through. And your ear wire. And there you go. It's that simple. Let's see, is this dry? It's pretty dry. But here's the difference from the front. There is a difference from the front when you do the edges. There's a difference from the side. I really like those gold edges. I think that's the way I want to do things going forward. I think it just makes it look a little more, I don't know, finished, sophisticated, something. Okay, that's our second earring. I'll show you one more. This came out of that same mold. This is one that we did for back to school. So we had a little apple, that's a polymer clay apple slice, some little pins, some acrylic pearls in there, some metal charms in there. And then for our topper, we just used some seed beads. Yeah, Sheena, I like that gold too. And I'm so glad I showed you because now I'm like obsessed with it. Okay, moving on to how to turn stickers into earrings. And not just earrings, how to turn stickers into a jewelry component, because once we have the resin on there, it's going to be hardened. We could turn it into a brooch. We could turn it into a ring component. We could turn it into a pendant, a charm. But in this case, we are going to be using this to make an earring. So let's open these up. And of course, you can go and find leaves in your yard like I did. This is from my yard. But the problem is all of my leaves are giant like this. And so it's not really a great size for an earring. I did find this size though. So all the steps that I'm doing can work with an actual dried leaf. It's just a little hard to find a leaf that's the perfect size that isn't kind of gross along the edges there. This one is a little, been sitting on the ground, I think, for a little bit. So always perfect are stickers. So let's pull this off of there. And so the way these stickers are, these are kind of dimensional. They have a front piece and a back piece, and then they've got that foam. So you can see the foam disc in there. So I'm going to pull this apart. Carefully and use just this part. All right, so this is great to set down directly onto your silicone mat. I'm just kind of straightening it out so that it lays flat. And we are going to coat the top of it in UV resin. So I'm going to put some here. And then with my wood stick, I'm just going to bring it to all of the edges. You can also use an old paintbrush for this, a small detail paintbrush. But I find it goes just as easy with this wood stick. So I'm trying to bring it to the edges and not go over the edges. You may also need to have another tool of some kind to hold this down. And we're just looking for a thin coat. Okay. Wipe off my stick here. And we're gonna cure that. So I'm gonna get that going just for a sec until it's not completely liquid and then push this off to the side. Okay. Because I want to show you how to do the same thing with a real leaf from my yard. For a leaf, it's going to have a little more curve to it. So you want to tape it down. This is a special polyester tape that's used with UV resin. And I'm going to cut a little piece of this. And I have the sticky side up. I'm going to stick the leaf down on there. This will help keep it flat. And then you can just turn the corner of that to give you a finger hold place. All right, so here, let me move this here. This is gone for 1 minute. And see, it does have a little bit of a curve to it. I happen to like that curve because I think that curve is what makes it look a little more realistic. That only went for 1 minute. I really think that's all it needs, but we do want to coat the back. So I'm going to coat the front of this one and the back of that one. And of course, this works with all different kinds of printed material, not just stickers. It could work with photographs, anything that is printed. Printed paper.
Stephanie, Amy's wondering, is your leaf from your yard totally dry?
Totally dry? Was that the question?
Your leaf, the one that you got from your
Yes.
yard.
I think so. I picked it up from the ground, and then it's been inside um since this morning. So I believe that it is totally dry. If your leaf that you find is not, you can press it in a book just like you would press flowers. I need a little more over here, so I'm stealing from our real leaf. All right, let's get that going. Keeping this away from the light because we do, oops, oh no. It's okay, it's all right. Got a little gummy there. Try to moving it. Um, let's go to our real leaf. And I'm just going to quickly do this one. I did a few leaves earlier that I'll show you. I don't know what tree they came from, but they are this beautiful bright magenta color. Let's put that underneath there. And this leaf here was how I found them. And I covered a few of them with UV resin. I did 2 coats on the front and 1 coat on the back. And they are, I don't want to bend it because I'm afraid it'll snap, but they are nice and hard now that I could use them in jewelry. So when you're using a leaf from your yard, you're going to need to drill a hole at the top of it. And that's when something like this comes in handy, a little hand drill. This has a 1.5 mm drill bit on it, which is just the perfect size for turning this into a charm. So you set the drill bit where you want it to go. Trying to keep that in the middle. And then you start twisting. Oh, I don't want it to go too high. You don't want it to go too high. Let's see if I can get this right in the right spot. No, see, I set the drill bit a little too high and it kind of destroyed the top of it. Let's try again. Let's go a little bit further down. Oh, I did the same thing. These leaves are so, so delicate. This is my first time working with them. They come from a tree in my yard, and these particular leaves are just very, very delicate. So lesson learned on those. This is how they start. They are just like the thinnest little feathery things. So let's stick with our more hardy leaf here. So here's our sticker. And I'm going to do another coat on the front of this. Yeah, Melissa, I think that's a great idea. A little hole punch might be better. That drill, just the motion of the turning of the drill is like just too much for that very delicate leaf. So I'm putting another layer on the front of this. And the reason is because I want to add a little sparkle. All right, so covering that in more resin. And then I have some glitter here. This is that ultra fine glitter. And in this case, I think I'm just going to dip and then do one of these tapping. And I can just kind of tap some areas of glitter and then move it around if it got too clumpy in one spot. Just a tiny little bit, I think, is all it needs. Okay. And then I'm going to show you how to finish the back of this as well. So all in all, it'll be 3 to 4 coats on a sticker is what you're going to want. And that just really protects it, strengthens it, and then you can decide what to turn that into. So I'll show you some different findings options. So over here, I have a little alligator clip, so you could easily turn any sticker into a hair clip using this. Here I have a ring finding, it has that little base at the top of it. You could turn any sticker into a ring. And then here I have a clutch pin, kind of pin that opens like that. And you can turn any sticker into a little brooch. Okay, so let's look at the back. See, the back right now has this kind of ugly gray color. If we want to fix that up, we can mix up a white or any color to cover the back. So here, I'll just bring another silicone cup. And this gives me a chance to show you how tints work. So I'm just shaking this up. But this is an example of a tint also sold right next to the resin in lots of basic colors. You can just tint. Get my other white. I'm just adding 2 little dots of that tint. And of course, I can make this any color that I want to put on the back here. I think I'll add 1 more drop. You never want to make your tints completely opaque. You always want them to have a little bit of transparency. Completely opaque means completely blocked from the light. All right, so I could use that to kind of paint on the back. And that just will make the back look a little prettier, a little more finished. And of course, at home, you're going to take your time and get the resin to all the points of this leaf. I'm always rushing in these classes because I feel like I have so much I want to show you guys. So we are going to be wrapping it up here soon. So if you have any burning questions, now is the time to ask them in the chat. If I don't see it, one of my colleagues will. They'll get you an answer. Okay, so moving this away, bring the lamp in and turn that on. So the earring finding that we're going to use at the top of this kind of moving that around, looks like this. So this, it's called an ear wire beading hoop when you buy it in the store. And these are cool because you can change out the charm that hangs on them. To my knowledge, I can't speak for every resin tint. There's a question in the chat that asks about what resin tints you can use. To my knowledge, the resin tints that I've used can be used interchangeably with UV resin, but I've not tried them all. So I hesitate to give you a firm answer on that. As far as I know, any resin tints can be used with UV resin. So this I'm definitely going to cure for more than 2 minutes because I added that tint to it. I just want to make sure it has time to get fully cured. And then we are going to drill out using our 1.5 mm bit. Just a little hole in the top there. And I'll show you our example. A little hole in the top, and then it just threads onto this hoop. So I said it's interchangeable because the way the hoop works is like this. So you could thread on a different seasonal charm all year and use one pair of earrings. Pretty cool. I'll show you another way that we use stickers while I'm waiting for this to cure. This is for our back to school class. We were making badges. Here, this one looks better. And so we used this type of a finding on the back to make a little brooch for a teacher. And that graphic is obviously a sticker. And the bat earrings. Yes, thank you, Jennifer. We made some really cute bat earrings that I do not have right here next to me, or else I would show them to the camera. They were adorable. I have them somewhere. Okay, so here we go. I probably will cure this for another couple minutes because I can see that on the back here, it is not fully cured. So, yeah. See, like on the back, you can see I got a little extra right there. For that, once it is fully cured, I would just go in and with my emery board, just kind of clean that up along the edges. All right, guys, we are wrapping it up here. Thank you so much for joining us. And please join us again for UV resin classes, for polymer clay classes. Like I said, go to michaels.com, just the way you found this, classes and events page, and check out our upcoming classes for November and December. I hope to see you back. My name's Stephanie Manor. I'm with Blue Moon Studio. We'll see you next time.